Is the next Pep Guardiola American?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is the largest coaching convention in the world. Clubs from all over the world have gathered in the US to develop players, tactics, and the greatest minds of the game. So the question is, how do they plan to create the next Guardiola?
It's a different skill set to coach 4v4, 7v7 than it is to coach Man City. Youth soccer is the biggest participated in of all the sports.
I've been at Red Bull for 3.5 years, but in the US for 20 years.
The structure of soccer in general shouldn't always be like, how can we get the kid to an MLS academy? No, it's how can we develop a soccer fan for life?
Video games are a big with the youth. FIFA, my 6-year-old knows Mbappe, not because of he watches PSG, but because he plays a video game that he's in. Then he has a passion for the game now and wants to watch it on TV.
I am a professional coach since 2011. I've been around Europe. I coached in Finland, I coached in England, I coached in Portugal. Recently I spent 3 years at AS Roma as a head coach of the under 17. This is something that I never seen in Italy, and probably I will never see something like that because it's proper American. Yeah. I like that.
I'm a head coach in Portugal, so I have 2 American players over there, and the level is getting higher.
What can we do to start to elevate this? How can we start to compete in a meaningful way? How can we get more of infrastructure underneath?
And even in the World Cup, we can see the level is growing. Now the European are getting better too, so
True.
It's a gap that you want to close.
Build that gap.
We thought U.S. soccer would progress a little bit faster than it was, like at the World Cup level, that we would be contending for, quarterfinals, semifinals by now. And one thing that I think that we neglected to think about is that it takes a generation for the coaches to get better.
Events like this obviously help educate coaches, make the coaches better, which makes the players better, and then you hope that kind of snowballs and everything keeps improving.
Events like this, it's only going to further spread the knowledge, I think, and that's the best thing we can do here in the States.
We have some of the most creative and progressive minds when it comes to the game. I think at times it doesn't get heard or given enough credit simply because you attach the American to it.
I think we have more than enough players that want to play in this country, but there's such a stigma against Americans and us talking about the game that even if it did exist, I don't know if that particular coach would be able to get a proper chance overseas. Yet. I mean, just look at what Jesse Marsch is up against. And I went over to Leeds and went to a training and saw some of his stuff. It was great. He's fighting the good fight for us, but there's just so much that's working against, not even the coaches, but the players as well.
So, is the next Pep Guardiola American?
You talking about me? I think you're talking about, no, is the next Pep Guardiola American?
Is he going to be American? The next one, probably not, but all of these big name managers, they're all descendants, all coming from that Cruyff era, and then eventually Pep, now in the Premier League, where all these big names are kind of coming from like a stem of that Pep Guardiola tree. Probably the better answer is it's coming from Guardiola himself.
We need more American coaches overseas.
If you think that Jesse Marsch is an American coach who has already progressed to the Premier League,
Jesse Marsch is a little bit of a trailblazer for that. But I also think here in Philadelphia, Jim Curtin is also excellent.
Not just develop your players, but develop your coaches as well. You want to see them reach their absolute maximum.
Just like our best players on the national team are the guys that go overseas, because it's a different experience. It's a different environment, it makes them better, and I think the more coaches that go overseas, it'll make American coaching better.
I think that either walking these halls or out there in the soccer community, there is 100%, not just one, I think there's multiple Peps out there.
I believe that Ted Lasso should be the next manager. My heroes are the coaches who volunteer to coach 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, and 8-year-olds. Pepe could never do that. He'd probably be absolutely horrendous coaching 6-year-olds. Klopp would pull his hair out, right? The good coaches coaching at the top level doesn't necessarily make them good coaches that can coach any level. So my respect lies at the foundation players who don't get paid, show up in the rain, show up in the snow, and they're teaching these kids, and they give a lot of time to these kids, a lot of commitment to the kids. And in fact, they probably rarely ever see the rewards. Somebody else receives the rewards of all their hard work. So, my vote's on Ted Lasso.
Soccer in the States we're evolving.
Yeah, we are. we're getting there. You know, I mean, you're doing the work. Everybody's doing the work.
Piece by piece from the grassroots level.
That's what I like to see.
We're hosting a World Cup in 26, and that the Women's World Cup might be here in 27, or if it's not in 27, it'll be here in 31. Okay. It's just another growth opportunity where we're getting more people exposed to the game, more people curious about how to get better at it, wanting to get better at it. And I think with the development of more robust youth academies and more money being dedicated to that, we're already showing that we can produce players. Yeah. Now it's just a matter of getting coaches in the same situations. But yeah, that's a great question.
There you go.
Yeah, look at this guy, Smarty Pants over here. Sasha, look at this guy. Look at this jersey. You're winning in so many different ways. I appreciate you.
Let's go. Appreciate that from the man.